Hello, everyone. This is Gaming at the Round Table with Owl Knights Media. I'm Maverick with Crystal and JoJo. Hello, hello.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about some of the things that have come out of the recent Summer Games Fest of 2025. There are a couple topics that I'm particularly interested in. And funny enough, my father actually reached out to me randomly. We were like moving a mattress or something. And he said, "Oh, did you hear about the new video game?" And I'm thinking, "Of course I have. What game? What game?" And he goes, "Yeah, the new 007." And I was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, I saw it on TV." I go, "Oh, I don't watch TV. All right, I'll look into it." So it turns out that one of the new games that is been talked about and announced is 007. I think it's called Last Light. I have it in my notes. Hold on. 007 First Light. First Light. Close, but opposite. So I saw a preview of it, and the main character is significantly younger than, in my opinion, he looks way younger than many of the other James Bonds. It's an origin story video game, and the trailer makes it seem very much like like an origin story movie where they go, "Oh, here's stuff about the main character. In this particular iteration, he's kind of like a doesn't obey authority type, but it's really, really skilled." That kind of cliche.
Mm.
007 itself is cliche, so whatever. And I thought it looked pretty good. I feel like I wish he was a little bit more rough around the edges looking, but it's fine. And the story seemed very 007-esque, like classic ones. I think it'll be good, and I think if it does really well, it'll probably make it to theaters. So that would be an interesting in reverse, because this game is not like most excuse me, 007 games in the past have all been based on 007 movies.
Mm-hmm.
This one's shaking it up and making the game first. So I'm going to be very interested to see if it turns out to be a movie. All right, that was the
They
one
may
I was
have
most.
done that because they've been going back and forth with who's going to play Bond.
Yeah,
So they may have said like, let's use this story because it's solid, and make it into something that can make enough of a attention grab to get people interested again. Because
yeah.
there's been a significant gap between the last, I think Bond movie was a while ago.
Yeah, it's Daniel Craig. I think basically retired or was retired from the
The
series,
series, yeah.
and they've been floating various people. Alba, I think, was one of the potential candidates. I'm not sure if he was ever confirmed.
Cavill was one.
Wait,
Right?
Idris Elba?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. Wouldn't it be great? I don't know if that was ever obviously the movie's not announced,
Yeah,
so
I know.
we'll never know.
I know.
Well, we'll know someday. The only other thing about that game series, when I watched the preview for First Light, was that as I watched it, and I'm American for anyone that can't tell, obviously, I was like, man, this is so British. Everything about this is so British. And I was like,
Oh,
duh,
no.
of course it is. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But they really like leapt feet, head first into it. I think it'll be great and cliche, but as expected. What about you
So
guys?
you want to go first?
Yes, please. So there's actually two games I want to talk about because they both have similar vibes. Um, so you guys know It Takes Two.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Split Fiction. Okay. We know that those two games are like leading a new pathway for co-op games. Well, there are two games that have come out, or have not come out, but have been announced. One is Out of Words, which I'm very excited about. I recently did a review of The Midnight Walk, which is an all clay animated game. So Out of Words is also a clay animated game. I'm very excited to see that because there's something about being in it that just makes you feel like you're living, or not living, but playing through a movie. So that one comes out sometime in 2026. That one kind of hurt my feelings. But the other one is Lego Voyagers. So another one, just like the It Takes Two, Split Fiction vibes. It's a co-op game.
But a Lego one?
Huh?
It's Lego based though?
It's Lego based.
Oh, that's cool.
So the weird part is your character is like, the single block
Oh, like just a square.
Yeah,
Just a square. That's your two characters. One's red, one's blue.
Do they
It's
have
got a
like
little eye
little
on it.
eyeballs?
Just one eye.
Oh,
So it's really
okay.
weird, but like you can like roll around and like click onto pieces and move the pieces to build things to like get across the
you're like the
it's
brain that connects to like the pieces.
right.
That's
It's
cool.
really cool looking. So I'm excited for that too because I love the Lego games. I mean, I would grab one, but I got a lot of stuff piled on it. But I own a lot of the Lego games.
You know what's
So
funny
seeing one
about that
that's co-op is pretty cool.
is that
I mean, they have a
if
lot of fun
we
stuff.
weren't already accustomed to Lego games,
Hmm.
that would be like one of the first thoughts someone might have had if they had never been exposed to a Lego game. Right? Like, how are you going to make a video game about Lego? If you think
Yeah.
about it, like growing up, you were like, you just put blocks together. I don't get it. So that's actually a
Right.
really cool take that they were able to zoom out and see the big picture and go, okay, let's focus in on like not a franchise, not Lego, Star Wars or Lego whatever, just Lego. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Well, the another cool part about that game in particular is like you were mentioning, it's just the blocks. So whereas you were mentioning the other ones have like themes to them, it's crazy seeing just the blocks for the whole entire adventure. And that one comes out in 2025.
When you
So
want, assuming you've seen a video,
I have.
were there any like bosses or like enemies or anything that you could see?
I didn't see any bosses or enemies. For the most part, what I saw was puzzle solving. So it might be an entire puzzle solving type game. Which I mean, I'm okay with that.
It could be a combo. We'll have to look into it. Maybe we'll do a review on it.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. All right. What about you, Joe?
So I saw two games that were on it. I'm gonna go with the one that's actually coming out the soonest,
Hmm.
which actually was a surprise to me that they actually have an open beta that started on Monday, which was June 9th, and it's called Wildgate. And I believe it's from the company that they started from. They're kind of an offshoot of Blizzard.
Hmm.
They're old Blizzard employees, and they started kind of. They're called Moonshot Games, and it's kind of like a space battle PvP multiplayer. But you can have up to like 20 battleships fighting at once. Aesthetically, it looks very Blizzard esque,
Hmm.
but it just looks like it's pretty fun and cool. Like it's a good change. And again, the two games that I have are like polar opposites of each other, so that's why I want to start with this one first. And again,
Well,
it's in open beta.
What style of game did you say this was?
It's a PvP multiplayer shooter that blends tactical ship to ship combat with fast paced first person action.
When I
The
was looking,
official Steam
yeah,
description of
I
it.
googled some of the imagery and looks good. Looks kind of cartoony, kind of like you
Yeah,
mentioned
that's why
how
I said it's kind of like Blizzard esque.
Blizzard World of Warcraft,
Yeah,
where
that's
it's
probably the
instead of
best.
fantasy, it's sci-fi, but it's got that same cartoony
Yeah.
inspiration. I think it looks great, but from the preview, I see someone holding a gun in like a first-person shooter type thing. But then I see another image where it's clearly in a spaceship. So I'm gonna have to. You said it's already out, right?
The open beta, I believe, I'm not sure if it's still running, but I know for a fact it started Monday, which was again June 9th as the time of this recording. It is the 12th. So it's been out for a couple days.
I see the
hmm.
Steam page now. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that.
I
Yeah, when I
think
was
I
reading up on
saw
it.
that
Go
game
ahead.
and was like, Joe, Joe, yeah.
I
Yeah, I
recognize
like
the name. I didn't
certain
know.
open world things, but not like overly open. But speaking of open world, I'm gonna go to what isn't a norm for me as far as like I'm not the biggest fan of zombie games
Hmm.
because I think it's kind of like overplayed and the zombies run into the ground is the best phrase I could use. But Dying Light is a series that I'm a pretty big fan of because I think they put a good amount of work into it, and the games aren't just like generic. They add enough to it to where it's like it feels different, and the story is enough to where you can follow it. Because a lot of times I think when they do open world or open platform, they kind of go too open, and you get lost in the sauce, and then you're kind of going like, wait, what was the story? And you don't really care about the story. You just run around and you're shooting zombies or. slashing zombies, whatever it is.
Right.
But their newer game is called Dying Light: The Beast. I believe it's coming out in August. Yes, initial release date is scheduled for August 22nd, 2025, on all series or all platforms. It's considered a role playing game slash shooter. I think that's the other thing I like about it is I don't like role playing games that are overly strict to one genre because I think it can get overly repetitive and kind of just like this is mundane. Like if it only uses swords or it only uses pistols, or I think that kind of gets boring. So when
Yeah.
you can kind of mix it up and choose what you want to use, I think that's a little more fun. So I was excited to see that. It looks really nice, and the fact that it's going to be on the newer systems is something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead.
sorry. I feel like since you mentioned zombies, I also have to mention there is a new Resident Evil game coming out.
That's why I
I
said
don't
zombies as like an overarching thing, and not just
Resident
like
Evil Requiem.
Requiem.
Yeah, I heard that you're going to be able to play in either first person or third person, which seems like
Ooh.
a weird. Cool.
Well,
I-
most Resident Evil games that I
they're
know
third
of
person,
are
aren't they?
third person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right. So maybe they're just testing the waters to see what people prefer without having
Definitely
to
prefer
change the
first.
franchise.
So do I.
Especially,
Um,
yeah. I like third in that you can see the character and in around corners and stuff like that, so you can cheat.
yeah.
I'm not a Resident Evil fan because I don't like zombies, and in at least in American media and games too, there was the whole like era of The Walking Dead, and it like
Mhm.
took over conversation, and it was kind of like Game of Thrones took over for a while, and everything was that, and then there's three eras that I've lived through in media and video games. There was the Game of Thrones era, there was the Pirates of the Caribbean era, and then
Caribbean.
and then there was the
They're married if you can't tell.
the zombie era, right? And I felt during each, I was just like, oh, make it end. This is enough.
Let's be real here. Has the zombie era ever finished? Because Resident Evil has been going hard long before The Walking Dead became a thing.
Yeah, but
So it
they've
was
got their what do they call that? They've got the grandfather clause, right? They've been
Yeah.
around. They've proven themselves before it was the fad. They helped make the fad.
I've only ever seen the movies. I've never played. Rephrase. I've played one game. I think I played and didn't know what to do, got stuck, and was like, forget it. But that was back when I didn't really know how to. This sounds weird, but I didn't really know how to play video games, especially RPGs. So I gave up real quick. I was used to things like follow this one path and you will go where you need to go, and that was it.
Side scrollers, Donkey Kong Country,
Right,
kind of
Donkey
stuff.
Kong Country was my go-to.
Speaking of branching out and trying new things,
Yes.
for those of you that are familiar with music industry stuff, Blackpink, right? Blackpink is a J-pop, J-pop,
K-pop.
K-pop. Why did I say J-pop?
I don't know. J-pop
I was like,
is
why
a
does that
thing,
sound
though.
so wrong? Because it is.
I mean, it's still a thing though. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. K-pop, and I think it was Jenny specifically from Blackpink. I don't know the band members that well, right?
It's okay.
She did a song that they played for the Summerfest, the Summer Games Fest that we've been talking about. And so that was a nice crossover, not only American culture with K-pop group, but also gaming industry officially saying, okay, you're one of the cool kids now, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a while before we could do anime stuff with video games. No, you're too nerdy for video games. And now they've kind of meshed heavily. I think we're starting to do that with different music genres. What's up?
Yes. Speaking of music and mixing and anime, so Hatsune Miku
Oh yeah,
is making an appearance in a game, one that I'm quite excited for, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds.
I
So
saw that, but I wasn't sure what I was looking at. I was like, what?
think Mario Kart, but better. Okay, so you know it's got the classic Sonic characters: Sonic, Tails, Eggman, so on and so forth. But they have some Persona 5 characters.
Hmm.
They have Hatsune Miku, and the one I'm most excited about, which sounds so silly, but Steve from
That's what
From
I thought I saw. I was
Minecraft.
like, okay.
Yeah, so they're gonna have a whole Minecraft track that I think is really cool. So I look forward to giving that game a go. But on the anime note, I also wanted to bring up there's a One Punch Man game
Mm.
coming, and there's also
I
a
didn't see
Seven
that
Deadly
one.
Sins game coming. So anime is going to be eating pretty good with video games.
Sonic is another one of those examples that's like grandfathered in, that's been around for a long time, recurring franchise, which brings up the
Mm-hmm.
point that I had wanted to cover, which was there were a couple outliers. You mentioned one being, what was it? Out of Words, I believe you mentioned, which is
Out
a
of words,
co-op
yes.
indie game. There's another one that I'm really excited for. Please Google it, YouTube it, whatever. It's called Mio, Mio. Uh, it looks really cool,
Yeah.
fast paced. It's got the 2D vibe to it, but I am pretty darn sure it's 3D. Um, it looks beautiful and fun and fast paced. Anyway, other than the outliers, a lot of the games that we saw that people like reacted to were legacy IPs. And I feel like we've
Mm-hmm.
talked about this as a separate topic where the gaming industry in general, media really, is playing it super safe with AAA titles and recurring IPs. So if I just go through some of the list of things that were announced, if you will, um, we had Mortal Shell 2, Fortnite, which is a long-standing game, Death Stranding 2, Sonic Crossworld. Sonic has a million games, right? Minecraft
Lego.
DLC for Crossworld Sonic. Minecraft has been around for a long time. Code Vein 2. Um,
Mm-hmm.
let's see, Atomic Heart 2. Let's see,
I saw
Marvel
a
Anything.
part two of that game.
Resident Evil.
No, Atomic.
Resident Evil. Onimusha Way of the Sword, I think, is an
That's a
expansion to
second.
that.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
about to
or
say that
the
sounds like a second. I think I've heard of that one.
And then we had, excuse me, there was Wuthering Waves, which I love as well, but that's like a continuation game, a live service
Mm-hmm.
game. Lego is a recurring IP. Nicktoons is obviously, Life of P Overture, I'm excited for, but it's also Blade and Soul. They had more than one Blade and Soul. The Seven Deadly Sins Origins game is based on the anime, right? Like the industry at large is playing it super safe by going with things they know everybody likes. And that's good because you should use what people like. But I feel like using the exact thing that they like I don't want Sonic 32, right? I want something that reminds me of Sonic, does what Sonic does well, but is a different new thing.
I mean, this racing game. I'm pretty sure they've done like 50 racing games at this point. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
But this one just has different characters in it or whatever. Um Different vibe, I guess. Modernized it.
It's funny because it reminds me of what just recently happened with the Blizzard Overwatch 2 community being shaken up with the release of Marvel Rivals,
Mm.
in that someone did something very similar, but just better. Now, the issue there is even that's still recurring IP. Marvel is probably the most recognizable franchise currently in terms of modern
media.
media.
Mm-hmm.
That was a ramble.
Yeah.
I have one more
Um
topic, the ROG Xbox. Anybody?
Oh, wait. 1 second. Before we get into that, I wanted to ask you specifically, Maverick. Did you see Blighted?
No.
Which one was that one?
So that game looks a lot like Hades.
Ooh.
Blighted.
Oh, you don't
Yeah,
say.
Google while
Is it a
we while
roguelike?
we No. It's
There
an
is a
action
roguelite that
RPG.
they announced, but the second I saw roguelite, I kept scrolling.
Yeah,
I was like,
Blighted,
you.
from my understanding, is a action RPG. So,
Okay. Well,
but
sometimes they say that and it's got like roguelike elements. And
the
honestly, it's kind of hard not to these days.
I mean, mostly what I notice is that the art style, the play style is very similar to, and I'm not talking play style as in like the mechanics. I'm talking about the way he looks when he attacks.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
This,
yeah.
Okay, this is definitely up my alley. It's got a really, yeah. I don't want to describe it visually for the people listening.
Right.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
But I'm right. It's like a Hades aesthetic, if you
To
will.
me, someone was
Um,
like, let's make a Hades. The main
mm,
character is going to be a Reaper looking guy, and let's make it cartoony. And they were like non-violent? No, 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 super violent. Just cartoony. Okay, sure. All right. That's what it looks like to me. I'm
Now, I
excited about
don't
that
think
now.
Blighted is the first in the series, so I'm not 100% sure. But
Drink
either way, it
Box
looked
Studio.
interesting enough while I was doing a bunch of research on the Summerfest games. I thought that that would be something that you would ding on your radar.
Okay, now I know why it looks so familiar, that cartoon style. Who is this? Drinkbox Studios are the people that made uh, Guacamelee. And if you haven't heard of that one, Nobody Saves the World was a really huge indie game. I'll show it to you guys later. That was
Hmm.
very huge, well known. It made it onto the consoles, like big, big, big. And so Blighted shares a very similar kind of twisted cartoon esque thing going on.
Hmm.
I lost my train of thought now. Oh, the Republic of Gaming handheld thing.
Yes.
Yes. Do you have stuff to say about it? Otherwise, I will meander through.
You go for it.
Okay, so a while back on one of our podcasts, I made a prediction that someone on the internet heard in one of our snippets and was like, listen to you ramble about this. You're so wrong. You're so wrong. Well, we found out that 2025 Xbox teamed up to create a handheld mobile version because they're not ready to, go the full gambit with the latest official iteration of Xbox. So I was right. Screw you, whoever the heck you were. I have no idea who it was. And on that note,
Can you tell someone reads the comments?
yes,
Yeah.
sometimes.
No. I'm very excited for it. I will never own an Xbox. Let's just be clear here. I will not go down that route. But a handheld version of Xbox?
Wait, if
I
it,
might be convinced.
I wonder if it's going to work like
No, I don't think it's like the Portal. It's not like the Portal. It's got games
so straight up
specific to it.
standalone, yeah,
It's a standalone.
like a Steam Deck, I guess.
Yeah, like a Steam Deck.
Mhm.
So I'm rather excited about that because there are some Xbox games that I am very interested in playing. Now, something as somebody who has a handheld device, I have a Portal, so it's completely different, right? But I know certain games cannot play well on this Portal. Like I'm not going to play Apex Legends on the Portal. I tried. It is not good, okay? So I'm a little curious how to see how Xbox is going to handle that because they have games like Halo and whatnot. Um, you don't need to see the enemy per se, but like you still need to be able to see them, I guess, right? I don't know. I'm very curious how Xbox is going to handle it, and I hope they make this handheld very good. And I really hope other companies follow suit because I don't like sitting here. Okay, I'd rather sit in my bed and play my video games.
Was the only Xbox person in this bunch. My gripe with it is it looks massive. Like it
Yeah.
looks like I'm holding a keyboard massive.
Mm-hmm.
The
And
Xbox or the controller?
the whole system,
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
portable
The
system,
portable system.
looks like they took a graphics card, tried to shove it in a mobile thing, and we're like, okay, here is your mobile gaming. To me, it just feel I don't know what it is, and I have the same issue with the Switch for whatever reason. I know it's a personal thing with me, but when there's a huge gap between like the control, I'm used to playing on a regular controller, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox, where it fits kind of where like my hands can touch on it.
Yeah.
If it's that big, I don't know why I feel like I'm like steering a monitor, like or like
Yeah.
a driving wheel. So for
Well,
me, it just feels kind of weird.
That's why I
when
love
I
the removable.
the
The
Joy
Joy-Cons?
Cons,
Yeah, the Joy Cons on the Switch, to their credit.
when I play the Portal, my hands are like out here, and I have to dock my whole self on top of a pillow so that way I'm not actually physically holding the device because it is so large. Portable doesn't always mean comfortable without
Yeah.
setting yourself up, right? It just
Mhm.
means you can play it wherever. And I'm not exactly mad at that. They do literally have these pillows that are designed to like set your devices on. So, yeah, you have to buy something else, but that's the comfort of being able to play wherever you want. Um, I don't know how big that thing is, but I imagine it's probably about the same size as the Portal. That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking, but I'd have to see it compared side by side.
Most of the mobile gaming things that are currently out, whether I think Nvidia has one, and then a couple other companies, I'm blanking on the names. They're relatively large.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up in the era of like why am I blanking on the name now? The Game Boy, things like that, where you could play, and the screen wasn't that big of a factor to me. It was more of like the playability in my hands and the overall size of it. I mean, it was a brick. Don't get me wrong, but it was still mobile enough where it felt like, okay, this
Yeah.
isn't cumbersome. If I'm walking around that, I feel like I'm walking around with like an iPad Pro where it's like this big, and I'm okay. I got small hands for
Yeah.
anybody that cannot
The
see,
younger
so for me,
generation might also
Yeah.
be used to walking around with an
that's
iPad,
true.
right? Like I see kids
I
literally
mean,
getting
that's why they
handed
got
tablets.
the fingers that are indented and whatnot from
From holding
holding their
it.
devices. Um, no, like I grew up with Game Boys, right? But I grew up with the smaller Game Boys too. The one that was like a square that would open
Yeah.
up. What is that? The Super
My oldest had it,
Nintendo.
who's now 20,
It's not the
just to age
DS.
myself. She had one of them like when she was little. So like it's within the last my kids played it and I saw it, so I'm like, okay, I'm not that old, but I'm old.
Yeah. So like I don't know how we went from handheld devices like that to suddenly they need to be almost the size of a laptop.
Yeah.
Um,
Feel like we started a new podcast on this mobile
Yeah, like
gaming
I
for it.
we could probably
yeah.
talk about the monitor size or screen size from
And then
cell
there's power
phones like across like
comparisons, and like you
Yeah.
said, so maybe that'll be our next podcast. So we went a little long today. Potentially next time we're going to talk about the actual power of mobile gaming, because I have
Mm.
commentary I wanted to speak today. I'm going to hold off. I play some pretty great games on my cell phone. We'll see. Thank you guys for sticking around. This has been another episode of Gaming at the Round Table with Owl Knights Media. I'm Maverick with JoJo and Crystal, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Bye.
but